So, what if I told you that Tesla's most important product isn't the car at all? What if it's actually the secret AI brain that designs, builds, and connects every single one of them? This is the story of how a company is literally learning to think for itself. Let's get into it. Okay, so this all kicks off with a story that sounds like something straight out of science fiction. It comes from a guy named Jeff Lutz, a supply chain expert who was just driving his Tesla recently, but what happened to him reveals something absolutely mind-boggling about how this company works. So picture this. He navigates to a destination, and this place has 3 separate parking lots. Pretty standard stuff, right? His car, running on full self-driving, takes over to go find a spot. But here's where it gets weird. The car doesn't pull into the closest lot. In fact, it drives right past that one and the next one and decides to park in the lot that's furthest away. So obviously confused, Jeff asks the car's AI, which he calls Groc, a simple question. Why are we parking all the way over here?
And the AI's answer? It was so simple, so confident, and it just seemed totally wrong. Groc just says, this is the best available parking for the location. But Jeff's looking around, and he doesn't buy it for a second. He can clearly see spots that are closer.
So he pushed it, you know? How could you possibly know that? And Groc's explanation was the real shocker. It told him it had real-time data from all the other Teslas in the area, and it knew, right at that moment, that those 2 closer lots had 0 open spots. And you know what? Jeff drove through them just to check, and yep, they were completely full. And this right here, this is the central question of this whole explainer. How in the world could one car have this live, almost God's eye view of a situation happening miles away? The answer, it turns out, isn't just about a smart car. It's about a company that's becoming incredibly smart. That whole parking lot experience is our first real glimpse into a concept that, honestly, changes everything. It's the idea of a company that operates less like a machine and more like a single, living, thinking organism. People are starting to call this a super intelligent corporate organism. Now, what does that even mean? Well, think of it like this. It's a company where a central AI acts like a nervous system, constantly learning, constantly improving itself, and connecting every single part of the company into one thinking entity. And at Tesla, this brain actually has a name. It's a largely secret, totally in-house system called Tesla One. This is the AI that links the factory, the entire fleet of cars on the road, and the engineers at their desks into one single intelligence. Okay, so a company has a brain. So what? What does it actually do? Well, for starters, it allows it to innovate at a speed that just looks impossible to everybody else in the industry. Now, this slide gets right to the core of it. Your typical legacy automaker, right? They outsource about 80% of their parts. That means a supplier delivers the same exact part year after year. Tesla does the complete opposite. By making 80% of its parts themselves, they can make improvements not just every few years, but literally every single day if they want to. And if you want to see that speed in action, just look at the evolution of their heat pump. At the end of 2018, their super bottle was already considered revolutionary. A year and a half later, boom, they've already replaced it with the Octavalve. And then, and this is the truly wild part, in the next 4 months, they made 14 major improvements to that brand new part. Legendary automotive engineer Sandy Munro, a guy who literally tears down cars for a living, called this pace unheard of. He said that a single one of those changes would normally take a traditional car company years to pull off. Tesla did 14 of them in 4 months. It's just incredible. So how is this even possible? Well, it's because that Tesla One brain isn't just focused on one little part. As you can see, it's really an AI for everything. The best metaphor for it is really an octopus of intelligence. Its tentacles are reaching into every single part of the company. It's not just a tool for the factory. It's optimizing engineering, software, the whole supply chain, and even the fundamental science of the materials they use, all at the same time. So here's how it all actually works. The brain is getting this constant fire hose of real-time data from millions of Teslas driving around. It uses that data to run simulations, designing better parts, or figuring out smarter manufacturing methods, like how they perfected their gigacasting process. And maybe the most important part, it can create an unlimited number of PhD-level AI agents just to attack any problem the company is facing.
And just to give you a sense of the raw power we're talking about, look at Groc from Elon Musk's other company. They told it to create a competitor to Wikipedia. In just a few weeks, the AI read, analyzed, and effectively rewrote the entirety of human knowledge on Wikipedia. Now imagine that level of processing power being aimed squarely at making a better company. All right, so this is all really cool tech, but how does it actually translate to the bottom line? Well, this isn't just a fun tech story. It's a potentially unbeatable business advantage with some massive financial implications. I mean, the numbers on this chart really speak for themselves. Because of this hyper-efficient AI-driven model, Tesla's operating margin is sitting at around $5,000 per car. Now look at Ford and GM. They're at less than a third of that. That is a massive, massive difference. So what's the recipe here? It seems to come down to four main factors. First, you need bigger goals because AI thrives on huge, complex problems. Second, you need a leader with the imagination to actually deploy it. Third, you need the specialized AGI teams who can build it. And finally, the lifeblood of it all, a massive amount of computing power. And this right here explains why competitors are struggling so much to catch up. Sure, they can buy a 3-year-old Tesla, take it apart, and copy a piece of hardware. But you can't see and you can't copy the invisible, integrated AI brain and the software-first culture that actually created it. That's the real secret. And this table really highlights the difference in strategy. Look at the goal. Tech giants like Google and Amazon, they build all this massive compute power so they can sell it as a service to other people. Elon Musk builds it to create super intelligent organizations. You see, for Tesla, the AI isn't the product. It's the tool they're using to build something completely new. And you know, that's the biggest takeaway here. This story isn't just about Tesla. It's not just about the car industry. This could very well be the blueprint for the next evolution of what a corporation even is, a shift from just a group of people to a single, intelligent organism. Which leaves us with a fascinating final thought. We started with a car that just knew where to park. We ended with a company that can actually think. So if this model really works, are we on the verge of an era where all successful companies are destined to become living, super intelligent organisms?